As the years advance, many of us find ourselves haunted by memories of roads not taken, words unsaid, and battles that should never have been fought. Regret gnaws at the soul like a parasite feeding on past mistakes. But what if I told you there is a way to navigate life so that in old age we stand without remorse, firm in our choices? For the Stoics, this was not a dream, but a discipline, a way of being that transforms the fear of regret into the mastery of inner peace. Stoicism, a philosophy born in the bustling streets of ancient Greece and Rome, teaches us one thing above all: to live in accordance with nature. Not nature as a field of trees and rivers, but nature as the flow of life itself. We do not control what happens around us, but we are entirely responsible for our reactions. Seneca warned us, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." Time slips through our fingers, but the Stoic lives each day as if it were their last, preparing for the inevitable with serenity rather than panic. Mistake 1. Chasing external approval. The relentless pursuit of external validation is one of the most common traps we fall into. We often reshape our actions, beliefs, and values to seek the approval of others, believing that their praise will fill an inner void. However, no amount of external approval can truly satisfy the hunger for self-worth that resides within us. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and one of the most profound Stoic philosophers, highlighted this folly by reflecting, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." This paradox reveals a deep truth. While we are inherently more concerned with how we see ourselves, we often let the opinions of others dictate our sense of value. The Stoic path, however, offers a different approach. By focusing on building an internal character founded on virtue, integrity, and self-awareness, we establish a stable core that remains unaffected by the fluctuating judgments of others. This inner fortitude allows us to sidestep the regret that comes from being swayed by external validation, ensuring that our self-worth is not contingent upon fleeting, external sources. The Stoic understands that true contentment arises from within, and by anchoring our lives to this internal compass, we remain steadfast in the face of external pressures and praise. Mistake 2. Succumbing to destructive emotions. Anger, jealousy, and fear. These tempestuous emotions are the enemies of our inner peace. They surge unexpectedly, like violent storms, tearing through the calm of our minds and leaving chaos in their wake. As Epictetus, the wise Stoic philosopher who once lived in the shadow of slavery, cautioned, "Any person capable of angering you becomes your master." This powerful observation highlights how yielding to such emotions not only disturbs our tranquility, but also surrenders our control to external forces. The Stoic approach is to confront these emotions not by denying their existence, but by mastering them. The true challenge lies not in preventing their emergence, which is often impossible, but in how we choose to respond. Each emotional upheaval presents a pivotal choice. We can either react impulsively, allowing our actions to be dictated by the storm, or we can apply reason and self-control, thus preserving our inner peace and avoiding the deep regret that follows rash decisions. By embodying this disciplined response, the Stoic transforms the tempest of emotions into opportunities for growth, ensuring that we are not governed by transient feelings, but by enduring principles of virtue and wisdom. Mistake 3. Fearing death. Death, a concept as inevitable as the rising sun, is often viewed with trepidation and dread. This fear of the end consumes many, leading to a life marked by anxiety and avoidance. We cling desperately to the familiar, avoiding risks and new experiences, all in a bid to stave off the final curtain. Yet, the Stoics teach us that this fear is not only futile but irrational. Marcus Aurelius profoundly observed, "It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live." In this poignant statement lies a powerful truth. The true tragedy is not the arrival of death, but the life lived in fear of it. When we let the specter of death dictate our choices, we confine ourselves to a narrow existence, bereft of genuine adventure and growth. To the Stoic, death is a natural transition, not an enemy to be feared. By confronting death with calm acceptance and focusing on living with purpose and virtue, we cultivate a life rich in meaning and free from the shackles of regret. Embracing this perspective allows us to live fully, knowing that when the end comes, we will meet it not with fear, but with the dignity of a life well lived. Mistake 4. Neglecting self-control. In a world that constantly tempts us with immediate gratification and endless indulgences, the importance of self-control becomes glaringly evident. The Stoic philosophy teaches that without the ability to govern our desires, we become subservient to them, living lives dictated by fleeting impulses rather than steadfast principles. Seneca's assertion, "No man is free who is a slave to the flesh," encapsulates this wisdom. To be driven by every craving and whim is to surrender our autonomy to the transient and often destructive nature of unbridled pleasure. The Stoic path is one of deliberate moderation and measured response. By exercising restraint, we reject the superficial allure of temporary satisfactions and cultivate a deeper, more enduring form of freedom. True freedom, according to Stoicism, is not about the unchecked pursuit of pleasures, but about the inner strength to maintain balance and integrity amidst life's distractions. In mastering our desires, we are not just avoiding ruin, but are also affirming our ability to live a life aligned with our highest values and goals, unmarred by the chaos of unrestrained indulgence. Mistake 5. Avoiding responsibility. Blaming others for our circumstances is a trap of convenience. It allows us to deflect the uncomfortable truth that we alone hold the power to change our lives. The path of least resistance is to point fingers and attribute our failures and disappointments to external forces beyond our control. Yet, this mindset only serves to disempower us, trapping us in a cycle of passivity and discontent. Epictetus, a foremost Stoic philosopher, profoundly asserted, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This wisdom underscores a crucial Stoic principle. Our response to life's challenges is where our true power lies. By embracing full responsibility for our actions and attitudes, we step into a position of strength. We acknowledge that while we cannot always control external events, we can master our reactions and decisions. This shift in perspective fosters a sense of empowerment and self-reliance, freeing us from the bitterness of regret. It is through this acceptance of responsibility that we forge a path of integrity and virtue, leading a life of purpose and self-determination. Mistake 6. Failing to live in the present. We are often ensnared by the ghosts of the past or the anxieties of the future, allowing these temporal distractions to overshadow the only reality we truly possess, the present moment. The past, with its regrets and what-ifs, and the future, with its uncertainties and what could be, can consume us if we let them. Marcus Aurelius, in his profound wisdom, emphasizes, "The present moment is all we ever have." This sentiment underscores a core Stoic principle. The present is the only space where action occurs and where life is truly experienced. By fixating on what has gone by or what is yet to come, we squander the gift of now, missing the subtle beauty and immediacy of our current existence. The Stoic approach encourages us to ground ourselves firmly in the present, to engage fully with our immediate circumstances, and to act with purpose in the here and now. This mindful presence prevents us from being haunted by regrets or paralyzed by future anxieties, allowing us to live with clarity and intentionality. In doing so, we avoid the regret of a life spent in absentia, disconnected from the richness of our actual experience. Mistake 7. Letting wealth define you. In the relentless pursuit of material wealth, many of us become ensnared in a cycle of endless acquisition, believing that happiness and fulfillment are found in the accumulation of possessions. Yet, this chase is fraught with illusion and peril, for wealth is inherently unstable and ephemeral. It can be amassed swiftly, but it can also vanish just as quickly, leaving us bereft and disillusioned. The Stoic, however, offers a counterintuitive truth. Genuine wealth does not reside in the sheer volume of our material possessions, but rather in the mastery of our desires and the contentment with what we have. Seneca's profound insight that wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants owns this philosophy. By adopting a stance of simplicity and focusing on the cultivation of virtue, the Stoic frees themselves from the fickle nature of material wealth. In doing so, they avoid the deep regret that accompanies a life spent in relentless pursuit of transient riches, instead finding lasting peace and satisfaction in a life defined by moderation and inner richness. Mistake 8. Ignoring relationships. In the relentless pursuit of personal independence and self-sufficiency, it's easy to overlook the crucial relationships that underpin our existence. The Stoic wisdom reminds us that no individual exists in isolation. Rather, we are inherently interconnected. Marcus Aurelius, in his profound contemplation, asserted, "We are all limbs of one body." This metaphor underscores the notion that our lives are intricately linked to others, and that our well-being is profoundly affected by the quality of these connections. To neglect this understanding is to drift into a state of loneliness and regret, as the very bonds that offer support and enrichment are left untended. The Stoic approach emphasizes the importance of nurturing relationships not merely for personal gain, but for the mutual growth and support they provide. By engaging with others in a spirit of genuine connection and empathy, we align ourselves with a life of shared purpose and fulfillment. The Stoic recognizes that a life lived for the benefit of others, where relationships are honored and cultivated, is a life of profound contentment and devoid of the deep remorse that accompanies neglect of our fundamental human bonds. Mistake 9. Failing to learn from failure. Failure, often viewed through a lens of fear and despair, is fundamentally misunderstood. To many, it represents a dead end, a mark of inadequacy that signals the end of progress. However, the Stoic perspective reframes failure entirely. Instead of seeing it as a final defeat, the Stoic views failure as a profound teacher and an invaluable guide. Epictetus, a towering figure in Stoic philosophy, illuminates this truth with his assertion, "Difficulties are things that show a person what they are." In essence, failures and setbacks are not mere obstacles but mirrors reflecting our true selves. They reveal our strengths and weaknesses, our resilience and vulnerabilities. By confronting and embracing failure, rather than evading it, the Stoic engages in a process of self-discovery and growth. Each failure becomes a lesson, a step towards greater understanding and improvement. This proactive approach transforms potential regret into a source of wisdom and strength. The Stoic avoids the regret of a life marred by fear of mistakes by instead turning failures into opportunities for personal development and self-betterment. In this way, Failure is not a final verdict on our efforts, but a critical component of the journey towards excellence and inner peace. Mistake 10. Living without purpose. A life devoid of purpose is akin to a ship adrift at sea, aimless and vulnerable. The Stoic tradition emphasizes that each individual possesses a unique role and responsibility, an intrinsic duty that aligns with the greater fabric of existence. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher emperor, profoundly questioned, "Stop whatever you're doing for a moment and ask yourself, am I afraid of death because I won't be able to do this anymore?" This reflection challenges us to confront whether our daily activities and pursuits align with a deeper sense of purpose, or if they merely distract us from a more meaningful existence. Living with purpose, according to Stoic principles, means dedicating ourselves to activities and values that contribute to the greater good, fulfill our potential, and resonate with our deepest convictions. It is not the accumulation of accolades or wealth that defines a life well lived, but the conscious commitment to our roles, responsibilities, and passions. By anchoring ourselves in a clear sense of purpose, we avoid the regret of having squandered our time and potential, ensuring that each day is imbued with significance and driven by a sense of direction. Thus, the Stoic approach to life calls for a deliberate engagement with our personal and communal duties, which, in turn, fortifies us against the remorse of unfulfilled potential and wasted opportunity. Mistake 11. Ignoring the wisdom of the Stoics. Perhaps the gravest mistake we can make is to ignore the profound wisdom imparted by the Stoics. These ancient philosophers bequeathed us a timeless blueprint for living a life unmarred by regret. To disregard their teachings is to forsake the opportunity for enlightenment and succumb to ignorance. In their writings, the Stoics offered not just abstract ideas but practical tools for mastering our inner selves. Epictetus, one of the foremost Stoic thinkers, admonished us with a powerful directive. Don't explain your philosophy. Embody it. This is not merely a call to understand Stoic principles, but to integrate them into every facet of our lives. By embodying these principles, embracing self-control, cultivating resilience, and striving for inner peace, we sidestep the traps of regret that ensnare those who live without purpose or reflection. The Stoic path demands discipline and introspection, yet it provides a sanctuary of serenity amid life's turbulence. Ultimately, it is not the external circumstances that shape our destiny, but our responses to them. Regret is not a predetermined fate, but a byproduct of failing to live virtuously and wisely. By adhering to Stoic teachings, we ensure that in our later years, we look back with a sense of accomplishment and tranquility, not with sorrow and regret. Let us embrace the wisdom of the Stoics as our guide and walk this path with resolve, freeing ourselves from the chains of regret and finding peace in a life lived in accordance with our highest values.